Hello and welcome back to the PSD to HTML flat design build. In this lesson, now that we've got our fonts and everything out of the way, we're going to start by styling our header. So we have some simple text that needs to be centered, and then we're going to jump into the styling of our main navigation. And let's start by going to TextMate, and I've got the Site09 folder up. All of the changes we make in this lesson will be saved in that Site09 folder. So we'll open up index.html. And if we take a look at the header section, just to remind ourselves of how we've structured this, we've created a header element, and inside that header element we have our h1 tag, which has the author's name, the author's name and title, Interactive Designer. So all that's in an h1 tag. The Interactive Designer part is in a span tag so that we can isolate that and style it a little bit differently. And then below that we have a nav element with a class of main nav with our unordered list inside that, and that unordered list has all of our menu items. So let's start. If we look at our page as it is in Chrome, we have a white background here and we need a light gray background. Also, we have black text and we want to lighten that text up as well. And if we jump into our Photoshop file, we can take a look at that. So if we were to just click in the foreground color here and then use the eyedropper to click on that background color, we can see that that background has a value of df, df, df. And then we can eyedropper the text and see that it has a value of 868686. So those are the values we're going to be using right now. Let's escape out of that and jump into TextMate. We're going to open up the CSS folder, open main.css, and for our body, we're going to add a color attribute here, and we're going to give it a value of 868686. That'll be the text color. Also want to go ahead and apply, let's do this at the end, I want to go ahead and apply a default font size of 14 pixels. Also, one thing I forgot to do before, I want to make our headings here bold, so we're going to give our headings a font weight of 700. So now I want to change the background color of our document. We've already changed the text color here. Now inside our body, we're going to create another rule for the background hyphen color property, and we're going to give that a value, as we saw in our Photoshop file, of df, df, df. So let's save that, and then once again take a look in Chrome and refresh the page. There we go, that already looks better. Now let's style our heading text up here at the top. If you remember, in our HTML file, we put that inside an h1 tag, and we gave it a class of main title. So we can point to that main title class whenever we're customizing the way that this particular heading looks. So let's jump into main.css, and I'm going to skip a couple lines here, and I'm going to comment out a section here just so it's going to be easier to navigate through this document. So we're putting a line of comment here that just says header. So we'll put all of our header styles in this particular section. So remember to open your comment with /* and close it with */ // not backslash. Okay, so for the header, I'm going to point to the header element and center align the text there. So we'll use the text align property and set it to center. And then I also want to go ahead and set the width there to 100% to make sure it takes up the entire width of the browser and it's centered within that browser window. So we'll save that, go back to our page here and refresh. And there we go, everything's centered there. It's a good start. Now we need to specify the sizes for our h1 as well as the span within our h1. So we'll go back to our code and make that happen. So we're going to point to the h1 tag that has a class of main title. So h1.main-title. We could get rid of the h1 here and just put main title, and that would work just fine as well. And for the main title, we're going to use the Acme font, and that's already applied to the h1 tags up here, so we don't need to worry about that in this particular rule. But I do want to specify the font size. I want to make that 48 pixels. And for line height, we're going to set that to 40 pixels. Because if we leave the line height alone as it is, there's going to be too much space between the name Jerry Clutterbuck and the title Interactive Designer. We don't want that much space between, so we've just specified a line height here. Then I want to point to the span inside that main title, so we're going to point to .main-title for a new rule, space, span. So we're looking for the span tag within that main title class, and we're going to set the font size for this span to 24 pixels, And then we'll set our letter spacing. We're going to space our letters apart a little bit so that it matches the text in the Photoshop file. We'll set our letter spacing here to about 4 pixels. So let's save that, jump back into our page here and refresh. And there we go. We've got a larger H1 tag here now, and inside the span, we've set a smaller text size, and we've set a little bit of letter spacing there to spread the letters out a little bit. So that's a really good start. So in the next video, we'll jump into our navigation item here and style our navigation the way we want it. And with everything saved, we'll go ahead and move on to the next video. Thank you for watching.